All right, man. Got a little Donald Bird here. I'm a fool. But anyway, listen, I'm trying to get you guys not to be a fool, right? And I'm trying to give you guys as many lessons as possible for growth and to help you to build the type of life that you want to have here. So, I told you guys we are going over all 7 habits of the book Seven Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. It is a classic book for sure, definitely a classic and a must read. And I'm not talking about must read and put down. I'm talking about must read every year. You know, I got a list of books that I go through every year. This is one of them. And I figured since I'm going through it at this time of the year, around April, I decided to go ahead and put together a 7 lesson on all 7 habits. That's right. So we are on to habit number 2, and habit number 2 is begin with the end in mind. So I want to do an exercise with you guys before we get into habit number 2, which is begin with the end in mind. And every time I do this lesson, I'll tell you guys this. Every time I do this lesson, it is the deepest emotional feelings that I have ever encountered when I'm doing a deep thought session. So I want you guys to put everything to the side right now. Just give me a couple of minutes. Uh, Turn your phones on silent. Don't worry about your boss. Don't worry about your family. Don't worry about your computer. Just listen to my voice and what I'm going to tell you to do. All right. I used to do this a lot of times with my academy recruits just to show them about character, right? So I'm going to show you guys right now in this lesson. So now what I want you guys to do right now is I want to imagine you're going to a funeral. Some of you may have heard this before. Okay. Now, as you're going to the funeral, you walk up for the viewing and you get to the casket. And when you look in the casket, you see a reflection of yourself. That's right. It is your funeral. You have just showed up to your own funeral. And everybody's there. You have family there, friends, cousins, co-workers, um, old bosses. Everybody is at this funeral. And as you visualize this funeral, you sit back and it's just a lovely service. So you decide, you know something? I am going to listen to this service and see what everybody has to say about me. And so people start to talk about you. First, your family comes up, and your family talks about what type of dad you were, right? You know, what type of a father you were, what type of cousin, maybe, what type of friend. They start talking about how you lived your life. And as you go through that, I want you guys to think of one thing. What would you like for people to say about you at your funeral, right? At the end of your life, family, children, your spouse, okay, cousins, friends, bosses, co-workers, and maybe just people who just met you uh, for a day or for a minute or for an hour. What would you like them to say about you at your funeral? Now, when I get into this, this is what it means when I say start with the end in mind, begin with the end in mind. And so, in saying that, I want you guys to reflect on it as I go through this lesson number 2, and I will jump to the whiteboard. That's right, because we do demonstrations here. I'm not going to be your talking head. I'm going to show you guys how to learn, how to grow, and how to be the best you can be. All right. So as always, we talk about pandemic proofing your money, right? And it will change your life. Now, in order to change your life, what do you have to do? You have to change your mindset. You have to change your habits, things that you do each and every day. So, when we talk about beginning with the end in mind, it is about increased understanding of yourself. We are trying to get you to understand yourself. So, now think about this. When we reflect back to the funeral, what would you like each of the speakers to say about you and your life? Right? What would you like? I mean, what are you thinking? Come on, I know it's going through your mind, right? What kind of husband were you? What kind of wife? What kind of father or mother? What would you like the words to reflect? What kind of son or daughter or cousin were you, right? What kind of friend were you? What kind of working associate were you for your coworkers, right? You know they're going to show up to your funeral. They're all there. What type of character, right? What type of character would you like them to have seen in you? Strong question, right? What contributions did you give? What achievements would you want them to remember? Not achievements that you achieved. Which ones would you feel that were most important for people to remember you by? And look around, right? In this funeral, you seeing all of those faces. Okay, what difference would you like to have made in all of their lives? Right? That is powerful. And I want you guys just to take a minute and absorb what I just said. What difference would you like to have made in their lives? And breathe that in. Okay. Every time I go through this process, sometimes I use the tombstone. And what would you like your tombstone to say? But just as powerful is that funeral and visualizing your family and everybody being there and you being like a fly on the wall and hearing everything that they have to say about you at your funeral. That is important. And that's why this chapter, habit number 2, begin with the end in mind, is so critical towards your success. All right, now let's get into the lesson, right? Now, beginning with the end in mind basically means start with a clear understanding of your destination. You guys, you have to know where you're going to go, right? As I spoke about in previous lessons, you can't be an astronaut heading toward the moon and not know how to get to the moon. All right. If you're off by just a fraction of a degree, you will miss the moon by miles before you get there. So you really, really have to understand that. I'm always telling everybody who I mentor, teach, my recruits, who I put through the academy, always to re-engineer, reverse engineer your life. Meaning you have to look at how you want your career to end, and from that point, start working backwards so that you can understand the processes that it needs to take in order to achieve the life that you want. Okay. I've seen far too many people, and I'm sure you guys have too, right? Far too many people arrive at a certain goal, have a certain achievement, um, and think that they were about to be fulfilled, and it was just empty. It was empty achievements. It was not what they truly, truly wanted because they didn't take the time to determine what they wanted in their life. They allowed others to determine what their life would end up like. Okay. And we will get into that, right? It was just empty victories over and over and over again, constantly pursuing what's hot right now. I'm telling you guys, don't pursue what's hot right now. You have to base everything you pursue on your principles. But you have to find your principles first, right, guys? You have to find them. And we're going to get you guys there. Okay. So, like I said, begin with the end in mind. It also means it's based on the principle that everything is created twice. Twice. So what do you mean by everything's created twice, Daryl? People say that, you know. Um, It is first created into mental and then it's created in the physical, right? So, as I've stated over and over again, and I'll write this down for you guys. There you go. First mental and the physical. Now, what do you mean by this when you say mental and physical, Darryl? What do you mean? Meaning, as you guys have learned, thoughts are things, right? In order for something to arrive to you physically, it has to first be created through your imagination and your desire and that whole mental process. Okay, in order to have what you want. Let's see. An example of this would be a building, right? If you are going to build a building and you are an architect, right? What do you have to first do? You first have to imagine that building. And once you imagine that building, you have to imagine um, the whole process of what will the blueprints look like for this building. And then you begin to work on the blueprints and the architect of the building. Now, once you have that, now you have a vision of how you want the building to be created. And then you work from that vision, and then eventually you create the physical building, right? Another example of that would be a business, right? You are trying to create a business. Now, maybe you don't even have any business experience to start off, but you were starting with the mental thought of the type of business that you would like to have, right? So before you create that business, before you physically go out there and create the business, you need to, in your mind, know that you want to create a business, know what type of business you would like to create, and then go through the educational process, learning and communicating with people to allow you to create a business that you want. Because you have a certain financial vision that you want for the business, a certain maybe brick and mortar or maybe an online business. Either way, it has to first be created in your mind, mentally, for it to then manifest physically. Um, Another one is, as I love to talk about this, is your child, right? When you are raising a child, responsibly that is, right? And you want your child to grow up and be self-disciplined, self-motivating, have the some of the strong attributes that maybe you have now, but you didn't have when you were younger growing up. What are you going to have to do? You're going to have to obviously begin with the end in mind, how you want your child to end up, but you have to visualize, okay, things that you need to do in order to get your child to develop certain characteristics to become that self disciplined individual. That is the power. That's the mental power that creates the physical process. All things are created twice. All right. But here's the deal, guys. If you don't, as in habit number one, develop your self awareness by being proactive, others, outside forces, and circumstances will determine how your life is going to turn out, right? It will be a default. Your life will turn out by default. I see so many people out there whose life happened by accident. Things that are going on in their life are by accident. They got into a job by accident. They got into a marriage by accident. They had children by accident. They started a business by accident, right? They weren't proactive. Someone decided for them that they were going to be a spouse. Somebody decided for them that they were going to have children. Somebody decided for them that they should go into business, right? And when these things happen, you are not truly living your life, okay? You are being uh, basically someone else is pulling your puppet strings. And this is what it is, right? So we're going to go into habit two, and we're going to talk about how to develop this habit and how some of the tools that I use to help me to become a person who begins with the end in mind. How about we do that? All right. So now the first one is based on principles of leadership. Now I'm gonna ask you guys a question here. What is a leader? What is a leader, guys? What is a leader? You know, me and my wife all the time we talk about it. My wife's a supervisor, and we always talk about what a leader is. And most of the time, we can definitely see in certain law enforcement and other agencies what a leader is not. And I'll tell you what a leader is not. A leader is not a manager, right? It is definitely not management. A leader is not management, right? Management is into doing things right, and a leader is doing the right things. You know something, and that is so important that I think I should write that down so you guys can see it, right? Let's write it down. Management is doing things right, and leadership is doing the right thing. It is a big difference when you see that right there written down, right? How big of a difference is that? See, when it comes to management and leaders, uh, leaders have a strong compass, a strong sense of principles that they go by. And in order for you to become a leader, you have to have that strong center, that strong compass, right? So, what are we truly lacking right now is the question that you have to ask, right? So, in these times right now, what are we looking for? We're looking for leaders, man. We're looking for leaders. And with this coronavirus, the COVID-19, and changing times, we are looking for leaders. Everybody is looking for a leader. So let me write that out so you guys can see what I'm talking about here. We are all looking for leaders. We are looking for leaders. And where are we going to find leaders? See, because most people are not leaders, guys. Most people are not leaders. Most people are followers. It is just what it is. Most people are followers. But in these times, we need a person, a visionary, someone who has clear visions of where they're going and a compass. We need a compass as opposed to, obviously, the compass represents a set of principles, as opposed to a roadmap, right? Management gives you the roadmap. A leader is the compass that we follow in the right direction. Understand that, guys, as we move forward in learning about habit number two, beginning with the end in mind. So, in order to do that, guys, what we need to do is you need to identify your center, right? You know, I'm the master at circles here, guys. The master of circles. See that? Boom. So, in this is your center, right? Your center is your set of principles, your values, okay, who you are, right? Now, around that center are four standards, four not principles, four things that make up who you are as a person, right? Four things. And those things are, right? your security, you got your wisdom, your power, and last but not least, your guidance. Now, everyone's life is determined, the direction you're going to go, based on how these four um, things uh, work together in your life, because they are interdependent of each other. One doesn't work without the other. They all work together, okay? And they create the center, who you are, right? And how you're going to make decisions in your life. When they work together in harmony, you will have an extraordinary life. Extraordinary, guys. All right? And I mean that. So, let's break it down, what they mean, okay? I give you a little list, and I'll break down what security stand. Wait, not even a list right now. I'm gonna go into where they vary, okay, and how people, okay's lives can go from good, right, to totally horrible lives, right, or horrible to extraordinary, based on, okay, these four principles right here. So now security value varies from extremely insecure, right, to a deep sense of high intrinsic worth and personal security. Should I write that down for you guys? I think I should write that down for you guys. I'm gonna go ahead and do a list right here. All right. So security. There we go. Security is basically, it varies from extreme insecurity. I know you've seen people who are extremely insecure, right? To a deep sense of high intrinsic value. And per security. That's security right there. Okay. The next one is your guidance system, right? Your guidance system varies from dependence on your social mirror, right? How you see things, all the way to, or all of from that social mirror, which is obviously is unstable, and it fluctuates based on the sources that come your way, to having a strong inner direction. So let's write that down. It goes from so social mirror, right? Or other unstable source, to a strong inner direction. That's your guidance system, right? Next is wisdom, right? How does this go? Wisdom. Wisdom is falls from totally inaccurate math, meaning you just totally got everything all jacked the hell up, right? So a totally inaccurate map, totally inaccurate map. Two, and let me expound on that just a little bit. When I talk about inaccurate map, what I'm talking about is everything is distorted, right? Nothing seems to fit. Your life is totally incomplete. All right, and this goes from that to an accurate map, obviously, where all parts fit perfectly. And all your principles are related. How about that, right? So I'm gonna move this over here so you guys can see a little better here. I'm bringing it up. I'll shrink it back down uh, in a minute, guys, so that you guys can see the whole list. And the last one is power. Now, power lies between, obviously, immobilization, meaning you are paralyzed and you just don't have any power, or you're a puppet and somebody's pulling the strings. We talked about that, right? I told you guys, if you don't act, someone would act for you. So understand that, right? So you go from being someone's puppet, right, to high proactivity, what we talked about in chapter one. These four principles and how they vary will determine the direction your life will go in. And let me explain this to you guys so you guys can truly grasp the concept upon this. This is all based upon what is your center? What is your center, right? Your guidance system, your wisdom, your security, your power. What does that center around? Right? And uh, before I get into that, I just want to give you guys a quote that I saw by Oliver Wendell Holmes, which was, "What lies behind us and what lies before us are tiny matters compared to what lies within us." And I think that that quote is extremely powerful because what it tells us is all of the forces going on in front of us and in back of us, meaning our future and our past, ha- pales in comparison to what we have inside of us, what we can become if we live in the present, if we live in the now. All right. So, guys, when I talk about these four principles, unless you find your center, you're going to have a hard time balancing all of this, right? So let's talk about center here. Now, there's several different types of centers, right? And I'll get into this as I run through the whole list for you guys real quick, the whole list of centers, right? Let me get some water. Give me a second. Love this Pellegrino water. It is awesome. I'm not a sponsor. All right. So the center, your center can be determined by a couple of things. And based on what your center is, will determine the direction your life's going to go in, right? So now you have what Stephen Covey first called the spouse center, right? So when it comes to security, and your center is your spouse, right? Your feelings of security are based the way your spouse treats you. Um, you are highly vulnerable to the moods and feelings of your spouse, and there's a deep disappointment resulting in withdrawal or conflict when your spouse disagrees with you or does not meet your expectations. Imagine how far that can pull you off from your center, right? The next thing, let's talk about how that relates to guidance, right? Your direction comes from your own needs and wants and from those of your spouse, right? Your decision making criteria is limited to what you think is best for your marriage or your mate or the preferences and opinions of your spouse. Let's go into wisdom, right? Your life perspective surrounds things which may positively or negatively influence your spouse or your relationship. That's wisdom. And last is your power, right? Your power is to act is limited by weakness in your spouse and in yourself. So that is centered around the spouse, right? And I'm gonna write all these down, a whole list of them for you guys so you guys can know and understand. The next thing is family centered, right? And your family centered, when you talk about security when your family, your security is founded on family acceptance and guidance. Family scripting is the correct attitude of the attitudes and behaviors of your family is how you script your life. As far as wisdom is concerned, you are interdependent. You interpret all of life in terms of your family, right? My family does this, my family does that, right? And last, your sense of power. Your actions are limited by your family models and traditions. Okay. And they go on to talk about money centered, work centered, possession, pleasure centered, friend centered, enemy centered, church centered, and self centered. These are all guys, let me tell you, the wrong way to go about moving ahead in life and having a strong set of values. And we're going to get to those. I'm going to just write them out for you guys in a nice little list over here. You got family. Well, let's start off with you got spouse, right? Family, money, work, possessions, pleasure, friends, enemies, enemy, church, and yourself. All right. Now, I'm putting this list here because oh, uh, moved it over there by mistake, but let me get it back up here. All right. Anyway, this is the list, guys. All right. In this list, right, what you will find is that none of these lists give you a strong sense of self, right? Nothing in this list gives you the proper guidance because everything is influenced by outside sources. And when your life is influenced by outside sources, what happens is you tend to lose, which is back over here in the middle, you tend to lose what is most important to you because you are not looking from the inside, you are looking from the outside. I'm trying to figure out how to move this list around. There we go. All right, that is that list. It's probably way too small for you guys to see, but you can screenshot that. There you go, right there. All right. Um. Okay. So, and let's get into principles, right? You need to basically base your center, who you are, the decisions you make, and everything else on principles, right? You have to have a deep set of principles. In order to have a deep set of principles, what does that mean, guys? What does that mean to have a deep set of principles? What does that mean to have a deep set of principles and have your life centered on your principles? See, principles are deep fundamental truths, right? They are not going to mislead you. Um, they are they're not like friends, right? So they don't get mad, they don't mistreat you. It is your principle. It is your true understanding of who you are and the direction that you're going, right? Your principles don't change. They don't change. They stay themselves, right? And you move according to, trust me, you move according to your principles. 90% of the people move according to their principles. The problem is their principles are based on all of the other factors that I talked about, as far as family, money, spouse, work, possessions, pleasure, and that's all their center. So it's driving them in a unbalanced life. Okay. So now the answer is truly you have to have a principles centered life. And I want to leave a quote that Maslow said. A person, and I always laugh at this, right? As I'll do that. I'll do it in a list instead. Hold on. Not a list of notes. Sorry about that, guys. Here you go. But Maslow says, here we go. All right. He that is good with a hammer thinks every problem is a nail. Now, when I first saw this, right, it was I heard it from one of my mentors said it, and did not know he was quoting Maslow at the time until after he said it at the end. And it is true. When you are good with a hammer, when you're good with solving a problem a certain way, you always try to solve every problem that way. And I want to tell you guys that you got to be flexible. We have to be flexible, and you have to understand and learn and grow, right? But the way to do that, guys, is through a personal mission statement. That's right, a personal mission statement. And I'm telling you guys, in order to have a good life, in order to have a good life, you have to have a personal, you have to develop a personal mission statement to stay on course. Move this over here. And guys, I have had several different mission statements, right? And as I grown and as I got older, my missions changed. As I grown older, my mission changed because I gained more knowledge, and that's basically what it is. Every year, you need to reevaluate your mission statement, your set of values that you plan on going by in your life. What do you plan on doing? What are your action steps? Okay. Mission statements help you to keep the course, guys, and that's just what it is. Um, if you guys want to learn how to develop a mission statement, just leave a word in the comments and I'll teach you guys how to develop a mission statement. But I read my mission statement every single day, twice a day, once when I wake up in the morning and once when I go to bed at night to keep me on track and on course to where I'm going in my life so that when I make decisions, they are based on my principles. All right. My principles drive my decisions, not everything around me, not my surrounding environment. And principles will allow you to have the life that you want, guys. Principles. Listen, let's just give you an example right here. When you are principle centered, right, your security is based on the correct principles that do not change regardless of external conditions. You know that the true principles can repeatedly be validated in your own life through your experiences. As far as guidance is concerned, you are guided by a compass which enables you to see where you want to go and how you will get there. As far as wisdom is concerned, your judgment encompasses a broad spectrum of long term, right? Living for the long term. Okay, you see things differently, thus, you think and act differently from the largely reactive world because of your wisdom, all right, and your power. It's all a balance here for a great life. Your power is limited only by your understanding and observance of the natural law and correct principles, and by the natural consequences of the principles themselves. That's right. You become self aware, knowledgeable, proactive individual, largely unrestricted by attitudes, behaviors, or actions of others. Listen, that is when you are principle based, and your center, right? So I'm telling you guys, develop a mission statement, read it twice a day. Um, but I'm gonna give you guys some action steps before we wrap this up today. And those action steps are the first one is I want you guys to record the impressions from the funeral, right? So record the impressions from the funeral, guys. This is a powerful exercise, and I'm telling you guys this: if you live your life based on how you would like others to see you and the people that you love and that are close and that are around you, what you're trying to do, how you would like to be remembered, it is a powerful motivator to move you forward and keep you going in the right direction. All right. The second thing that I need you guys to do is I need you to write down the roles, your role as you see yourself now, right? So, what are you doing right now in your life? So, write down your role. Like, who are you, right? Are you satisfied with the reflection that you see in the mirror? I'll add that. Are you satisfied? That is an important question, right? Writing down your role as you see it right now. What are you doing, right? You've already did the impressions of how you wanted people to see you, right? Now write down those roles. How are you right now? Are you that great father? Are you that great husband? Are you that great employee or awesome boss? Are you those things that you want people to say about you? And your mission statement, when you're writing that, is going to help you to get there, guys. So that's why your last step for today is to write down your personal mission statement. That's right. Write down your personal mission statement. And when you write down your personal mission statement, make sure when you write down your personal mission statement, make sure that you don't just write it down and put it in a drawer somewhere. No, you write that sucker down and you read it twice a day, every day, until you memorize your personal mission statement. Until if I saw you on the street, I go by, what's your personal mission statement? And you could just tell me that right then, right now, bang, quick and on point. So listen, guys, this is habit number 2 today. Begin with the end in mind. I began this lesson knowing that I was going to tell you guys that you need to develop a personal mission statement, right? I spent some time reading the chapter and going over it over again so that I can give you guys the most fundamental parts of that chapter that I believe helped me to grow and become a better person. So hopefully today I've given you guys some value. If I have, check me out, click the link, subscribe, okay? And also share this knowledge. This knowledge here is it's in a book. It's crazy that a lot of people are not reading during this pandemic, but they're more or less just freaking out. And I'm gonna tell you guys, now is the time for growth. Now is the time to learn. Now is the time to take on a mentor. Okay, and now is the time to move your powers online. Go virtual, guys. So listen, this is today's lesson. Hope you guys have gotten an awesome experience out of this today. And I will have a great night knowing that you guys learn as much as I can give you today. All right. You guys have a great day. Bye bye.